want to share with you something about feelings and emotions that I have discovered in the last months in Tenerife. And it became something really valuable for me that helped me to connect more with my parents, for example, to share more from myself and to also know myself better, to be able to navigate better in my feelings and emotions. Because who here also feels like feelings and emotions, it's something really really hard to grasp, something that is like wobbly and you cannot really know where you are in them. Who feels a bit lost in feelings and emotions? Okay. Yeah, and so what was really valuable for me also was this distinction between feelings and emotions. And so I will start with that. Feelings versus emotions. And for me, the biggest difference there is that feelings are in the now. Feelings are something in the present moment that rises up when I'm sensing what is around me, when I'm in interaction with other people. While here we have the past and the future. And that when a feeling is not being expressed in the moment because I'm in a space where I don't dare to cry or to express my anger or to really feel joyful or my fear, then I would suppress it and it stays in the body, it stays in the tissues. And so also it helped me to see it like this, that there is a trigger and then I start feeling something. I start feeling, I express it, and then I feel this feeling in my body, and when I have expressed it, it will just go back to neutral. But when I'm not able to express it in the moment, and I think for all people, probably for me and for many people, it happens in the childhood that we are not really allowed to feel, and then this doesn't have space, and it somehow stays in the body, this feeling, this sensation, and it doesn't go away, and you just live your life. Somehow it's always there, it's not being completed, and then this emotion is actually remains in your body as a body memory, and when it's being triggered again, then you have the chance to get back to its roots, to heal it actually, and to complete the cycle later. So I'll write feelings here in the now, while emotions are mainly from the past. They can also be about the future, like fear about the future, but that's also something because you have stories about what could happen, and these stories are also from the past or from other people. So emotions can also be picked up from other people. And so in that sense, feelings are for creating from the now, because they are rooted in the present moment, and they give you energy to create something with it. For creation. While emotions are more, and they are there, and they give you the chance to heal them. So they are for healing. And yes, so how you can realize if it's an emotion or a feeling is when you have a trigger. Here, something is triggering you. If you're really present in the moment, you might feel a feeling. Something comes up. For example, someone steps on your foot. You start feeling angry. You say, "Stop, go down from my foot," and it goes away again. While an emotion from the past would, maybe as a child, someone stepped on your foot and you couldn't express it because it was an authority figure and you couldn't say anything. So you had this and you couldn't express it, but inside of you there was this tension and it was stored in your body and you forgot about it, and now it's being activated again by this trigger, and immediately it's like your brain goes and there's this anger, and it also doesn't really go away quick enough. Like, you still feel angry after, let's say, longer than 3 or 5 minutes. And then maybe sometime later or even days later, you get distracted, or you slowly navigate back to the present, you forget about it, and then it's also back to this line of somehow not feeling this emotion right now. So, yes, are there any questions about that right now? Does it make sense so far? Okay. And one reason why I wanted to show you is because I realized how important this is for decision making. And does any one of you have ideas how this could be important?
For example, if in the past your opinion wasn't heard or kind of like pushed away or something like this, then maybe we are sitting in a circle and we're all coming up with ideas, and you're sharing something and somebody interrupts you, triggers you a lot more than somebody who might have always been heard and respected and always like whose opinion was always very valued in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So like different reactions to the same situation could happen, you know, for different people.
Yes, so that in the context of communication there is already the potential for emotions to be triggered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? How could that affect decision making? Also dealing with conflict situations in community, when there are emotions versus feelings.
I do have a question now about like the terminology. If you're feeling something in the now, but it's triggered because of something from the past, then do you call it a feeling or an emotion? So it's like when this person steps on your foot and you get super angry because you have this.
It's an emotion then.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's an emotion.
Yeah, because then you're still not really present. You're
in the
it
past.
would be yeah, you can be in the past, you can be anywhere around this now here. You can go in the future, think what might happen, and you can, yeah, you're just not really able to be right here and be with reality around you. Yeah.
Can I make one suggestion? Because like I really like the diagram, but you said like if it's an emotion and if it's like highly charged, you're longer there and then you go down. But like really neurologically and biochemically, in these situations you often don't go down anymore to the baseline. So you have a new baseline. That's how neuroplasticity also works. And it means like even small things are able to trigger that for most other people maybe wouldn't even be an issue, because for you it's like rooted within like quite deeply within yourself, and then it's way harder to just make it about something in the here and now, because that baseline didn't go back to normal fully.
So normal would be down here somewhere as a child, and for this person here
it would go down again.
It goes down again like that. That makes sense.
And then it becomes often like something that is connected to your core, even if it's maybe just a discussion about something very, for most people, very normal, like who's gonna cook dinner or whatever, or like how we deal with your foot now. But for you it really is sort of ingrained in a lot of like core issues you have, and that makes like this whole baseline so charged that even small things then can lead to quite high reactions.
And by core you mean the inner structure in a way?
Yes, like it could be on different ways, but it's sort of very, very closely connected to for example, feeling safe or not safe, or like really to like some core aspects of your being. And for people in that situation, for like what kind of example who like don't have that highly charged baseline, it's sort of like, ooh, I don't like how that is expressed, but it's still interesting, and then it goes away again. So it can be like as you say, a feeling or reaction, but it doesn't really trigger you in that sense of like, ooh, it's kind of attacking me or questioning me, or like is sort of questioning my core values or beliefs.
So just imagine us being in a meeting, and one person wants to create a garden which is close to someone else's tiny house. And so this person with a tiny house had this experience before that someone was getting too close with something else and couldn't express it, and it created this emotion. And now in this meeting where one person suggests to build a garden there, this person gets really reactive and really emotional. How would that affect the meeting, the process, the community, the connections?
The whole meeting would be really charged.
I think it also really depends on how this person, like how much they're kind of self-reflective about it. If they can kind of take accountability for, wow, I have the story in my head now that you want to take my space away and blah blah blah, or if they're just like how they communicate it, like if they are blaming, or I think it kind of depends how it's handled. But it could lead to, of course, a conflict where two people would kind of could be tension for a long time.
So it could be conflict,
or it could also be a way of connecting, actually. But hey, you have this very strong reaction right now. Do we want to talk about this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So self-awareness and reflectiveness could lead to connection.
Yeah.
And healing, maybe.
What?
Healing of the old traumas.
So
Yes. So that would be with emotions. And if this person would just have a feeling in this moment, like a neutral feeling, arising then, because, just some anger to protect this land around the tiny house or something like that. How would it be different from this emotional reaction?
maybe he could express it in the moment in a way that he's like aware this is happening because he already has this self-awareness.
Yeah, you could say like, I'm angry because I feel like you're taking my space. Something.
Yeah, from a more centered place.
Center, yeah. Anything else?
I guess it could also be that the feeling is not expressed. And then in a future meeting, it will be an explosion.
Oh, again. Yes. Okay. So, how can we deal with feelings and emotions in decision making?
Giving space for it in the moment when it arises, either in the big group or they can choose to take it between us, between them.
Okay. So, giving space in the moment. What did you say after that?
Or like in the big group, or if they choose to deal with it between the ones who are affected by it privately,
Or privately.
so it doesn't disturb the process of the meeting.
So, how could we give space to it in the moment?
Encouraging each person who feels or wants to share something to do so.
To share something?
Yeah, encourage.
Also to allow them to deal with the emotion or the feeling that comes up differently when talking about it. Like, for example, I don't know, going for like a run in the forest to get some strong feelings out, or to take a minute of silence to breathe or something like this. Like, to have other ways of coping that are not with talking.
So that would be for emotions or for feelings?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Could be both. I would like to ask them, hey, what do you need right now? How does this feeling or emotion want to be expressed?
Yeah. So we could ask before that, is it a feeling or emotion also?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And then what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
I think it also includes practice of self-awareness, especially when it comes to the topic of emotions. So as long as I'm not aware that it's maybe rooted to something in the past, and I'm not taking the responsibility to look at that or to seek help or to address that, it can stay as a thing that creates problems again and again. And when I mentioned like the biochemistry before, or neurobiochemistry, the fun fact is that these highly charged emotions have like a very, very, very similar chemical print than addictions. So the more often we get used to that, the more we like really used to these kind of highly charged emotions, and the harder it even is to get out of that. I mean, that's like more an extreme situation, but yeah, to just be aware that it takes some effort and work to find that out, and that's something people can help you, but I think it's also a self-responsibility in decision making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-responsibility.
You get addicted to having this charged emotion.
Like really, really high charged emotions, like fear, anger, everything. I mean, also beautiful emotions, but it's usually like not as destructive. They like the chemical cascade includes a lot of neurotransmitters and chemicals that are very close to what happens in the brain when you take addictive substances. So it's kind of, you really get used to these kinds of like highly present transmitters, and that's also like how the plasticity of your neurons literally change. That's why you don't go back like on the normal baseline, but like stay up in that charged thing, and then it can even happen then that there is not a real trigger, but you're so used to this is how you should feel. I think especially with things like anxieties or fears, you can sometimes observe that in yourself or in others, that you're just used to that. Or people who are used to stress a lot, for them you can say like relax, but it's sort of the brain doesn't get out of it because it's really like very similar to being addicted to that. And I think the more charged something is, the more it needs to be really looked at, where does it come from, in order to be able to change that, because you can also make a decision-making process impossible for everyone. Even if others try to give it space and try to be tolerant and everything, it's sort of like, there are limits to that.
Can make decision-making impossible. And so this would also be this emotional aspect. And so then it's good to notice that and to maybe pause there, to take it into some inner work, or bring it to a different level of like where you go back to the childhood memory, for example, or work with it in any other different way, and then go back to the meeting with a lower foundation of this feeling level. So, yes. Does that make sense to you? Anyone has anything to add?
Would you say that in a way, if some big emotion comes up, it's kind of like the end of the meeting, maybe, in a way? Because then that person needs to go for a run, and You decide to come back together later.
Or you could say, okay, this is an emotion, we put it to the side for now, we deal with it later and continue with other things with or yeah, if it's really like the core part of the meeting, then yeah, maybe it makes sense to pause and bring this emotion into movement first, or into healing processes.
Yeah. Because I think it might be a bit hard to then focus on other minor things when there's this big thing.
Yeah.
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 And I think it's really important maybe to put it on hold, but then not forget about it, because that's also the easy way. You're just like, yeah, I'll deal with it later. And then you never do it because it's just easier without. And for like that's why we're in community, because we can do it together, right? It's of course self-responsibility, but it's also like we catch up on each other, like do you want help? Is there anything you need, or do we do it together?
Yes.
And I also see the path.
Just one moment. So to put the emotion on hold, but then somehow write it down, or so in order to not forget about it.
Yeah, and close like the circle and do something with it. And not, because if it's like